Alright, let's talk about something that has been around for a decade, but is still kind of like that cool underground club that everybody is talking about, but a very few people understand, and that is blockchain. Now I know, when people hear blockchain, they think of Bitcoin, those pixelated monkeys, or maybe that one time your friend convinced you to buy Dogecoin. But what if I told you the blockchain is way more than the digital ledger of the cryptocurrencies? And what if I told you it's quietly revolutionizing industries that actually affect our daily lives? From the food you eat, to the medicine you trust, to the way your money moves around the world. Yes, blockchain is redefining supply chains, healthcare, finance, and even voting systems. It's doing it in a way that we could change the world as we know it. Forget all the hypes about crypto millionaires and NFTs. We are about to dive into how this tech is reshaping the stuff that matters the most. Ready for the wild ride through the future of trust? Buckle up, because blockchain's impact goes way beyond the coins and tokens you think you know. Simply put, blockchain is decentralized, tamper-proof digital ledger. Instead of one central database, information is shared across a network of computers that all have a copy of ledger. Every time something happens, a transaction, an update, a vote, it's bundled into a block and added to the chain in chronological order. Each block is logged with cryptography, so once it is added, you can't change it without everyone noticing. And this makes blockchain a secure and transparent record-keeping system that no single party controls and no one can secretly alter. IBM's former CEO Ginny Rometty captured this significance well when she said, "What the internet did for the communications, I think blockchain will do for trusted transactions." Most of you must be thinking the use of blockchain is limited to cryptocurrencies, but that's not the case anymore. So let's talk about some fields where it is being applied. Imagine you're sipping on a mango smoothie when a news alert warns of foodborne illness outbreak traced to mangoes. In traditional supply chain, figuring out which farm those mangoes came from could take a days of frantic phone calls and paperwork. In fact, a few years ago, Walmart's VP of Food Safety did exactly this. He challenged his entire team to trace a pack of sliced mangoes back to its farm. It took them 6 days, 18 hours and 26 minutes to gather all the info, basically a week. By then, tainted fruit could be long eaten or spoiled on shelves. Now enter blockchain. Walmart partnered with IBM to implement a blockchain-based food traceability system using Hyperledger Fabric and tried the mango trace again.
With a blockchain traceability solution, potentially you could scan a product and trace that product back with precision and accuracy to source in seconds, not days or weeks.
And this time it took only 2.2 seconds to pinpoint source farm. Yes, seconds. That's practically real time. Blockchain enabled Walmart to trace the source nearly instantly versus a week of using old methods. In a contamination crisis, that speed can save the lives by identifying the affected batch and pulling the products off the shelf before people get sick. But how does it work? Each step of mango's journey, farm, packing house, distributor, store, is recorded as a transaction on a shared ledger. The farm logs the harvest, the packer logs the boxing and batch number, the shipper logs the departure. Now, because this ledger is immutable and shared, Walmart's system could instantly query the mango's digital paper trail on the blockchain. No phone tag or digging through the files cabinet. All the data was already there, verified and timestamped in one place. This is not just one-off experiment. Walmart expanded the system to track over 25 different products from spinach to baby products by 2018. And it even mandated the suppliers of leafy greens to join its blockchain network so that any recall can be handled in seconds instead of days. The IBM Food Trust Network now links farms, distributors and retailers in trusted network. As a result, when something goes wrong, they can precisely identify which farm, which day, which batch is affected and recall only those items instead of sweeping all the products off the shelves. Few things are as personal and sensitive as your health information, and yet our healthcare system today often run on outdated and hack-prone infrastructure. Think of how different places your medical records live. Your primary doctor's office, the specialist you saw last year, your hospital from that ER visit, and your insurance company's database. In 2024 alone, there were 735 reported healthcare data breaches in the US, affecting nearly 190 million patients' records. And that is medical histories, test results, and billing information, all potentially exposed. It's clear that security and interoperability in healthcare data are huge problems. But can blockchain rescue this problem? Potentially, yes. Because a blockchain is an incorruptible ledger of transactions, it's ideal for keeping medical data secure and auditable. Instead of every provider keeping their own vulnerable database, we can imagine a shared healthcare blockchain network where patient records are stored and referenced in a decentralized way. You could have an unified and encrypted health record that you grant doctors and hospitals access to as needed. Each update, a new lab result, a prescription, a procedure becomes a new block added with your consent. The data could be encrypted for privacy, yet immutable once recorded, providing an unchangeable trail of who accessed or added what information. And this is not just a theory, it's already happening in some places. Estonia, for instance, has integrated blockchain technology to secure its nationwide electronic health records. The Estonian e-health system, with over 1 million of patient files, uses a blockchain-like integrity layer offered by a company called GuardTime to ensure that medical records cannot be altered without detection. This means every access and changes are logged immutably. Even the administrators cannot secretly fiddle with the records. If something is changed, the system knows and can prove it. Estonia's model has been so successful that other countries are following the path. For example, the United Arab Emirates partnered with GuardTime to bring blockchain into its healthcare data system as well. And the result is greater patient trust and stronger protection against the cyber attacks on healthcare infrastructure, since they can even verify who looked into their data. Have you ever sent an international wire transfer with some chunky fees and it took days to be cleared? And yes, that's a problem. But blockchain can compress that process to minutes, even seconds, by enabling peer-to-peer digital cash transfer without intermediaries. Even traditional banks are using blockchain networks to send money directly to other banks, bypassing the slow and old SWIFT system. For example, JP Morgan's internal blockchain Onyx moves funds between JP Morgan branches around the world almost instantly. And many banks have tested using cryptocurrencies or stable coins to settle cross-border trades in real time. Think of micropayments. Sending a few cents worth of value is normally impractical because the fees would exceed the amount. But on certain blockchain networks, the cost is so low that you could pay 5 cents to read single article or charge an electric vehicle by kilowatt hour, paying a few pennies at a time. This could unlock new business models and services. Let's not forget DeFi, that is decentralized finance. It is essentially the crypto world's parallel financial system, which is beyond traditional currency. It offers complex financial services on-chain. In the past couple of years, DeFi platforms have enabled anyone with the internet connection to lend, borrow, earn interest, and trade assets without bank in sight, using self-executing smart contracts on blockchain like Ethereum. While DeFi is still somewhat niche, it has proven that markets can run 24/7 with algorithmic rules instead of bankers. Even traditional finance noticed it, and now real-world assets are now being brought into DeFi. Over $200 billion in value has been issued as a stable coin such as USDC and USDT by companies like Circle and Tether. These are essentially digital dollars on blockchain, widely used in crypto tradings, but also increasingly for normal payments and remittances. In the countries with volatile currencies such as Argentina, Venezuela, and parts of Africa, people are using these stable coins as an alternative to store savings in a currency that holds the value with the US dollars without needing a US bank account. And it is huge from the financial inclusion perspective because blockchain is providing access to a stable global value store where the traditional system falls apart. Okay, here's another question that arises. Can blockchain make democracies more trustworthy? Elections are all about trust. We trust that our vote is counted as cast, that results are not tampered with, and that only eligible voters vote. Unfortunately, trust in election integrity has been shaky in many countries, and the mechanics of voting often seem stuck in the past. Now enter the idea of blockchain-based voting, a tantalizing concept of tamper-proof digital ballot box. Now imagine an election where every vote is recorded on public ledger. That means everyone can verify, but no one can alter. The results would be transparent and immutable, potentially restoring the faith in the process. It sounds great on paper, and indeed, a dozen countries from Brazil to Estonia have experimented with blockchain in some form of voting or election record keeping. Even for smaller scale votes like party primaries or shareholder decisions, blockchain has been used. One high-profile early attempt was in United States, West Virginia, piloted a blockchain-based mobile voting app for overseas military voters in 2018. The idea was to help soldiers abroad to cast their vote back home. However, that particular app was later found to have serious security vulnerabilities and it was shelved. This highlights the core tension in blockchain voting: security. While the blockchain ledger itself might be secure, the devices we vote on, phones and PCs, can be compromised. And if they are, a hacker could potentially manipulate your vote before it even hits the blockchain. Still, the pursuit continues. Just recently, in November 2024, a county in the US made history. Scriven County in Georgia state became the first in the nation to use the Bitcoin blockchain to help secure its election results. Now, they didn't have people voting on the blockchain. They still filed out ballots as usual. What they did different was, after counting the votes, the county officials took the final vote tallies and recorded a digital fingerprints of that data onto the Bitcoin blockchain. And this is called anchoring. It produces immutable time-stamped record. If anyone tried to alter the county's results later on, the hash would no longer match. Essentially, it is an anti-tampering mechanism. The blockchain acted like a public notary, certifying the results at the time of election. From the food on our plate to the hospital records, from the money in our banks to the votes we cast, blockchain technology is steadily weaving its way into the fabric of our world. It's been over a decade since the Bitcoin's blockchain introduced itself to the world, and in that time we have gone through waves of hype and skepticism. But zooming out, the trajectory is clear. Global investment in blockchain is soaring. The market value of blockchain industry jumped from about just $4 billion in 2020 to almost $27 billion in 2022 and is predicted to keep climbing steeply. In other words, the blockchain has gone mainstream even in the background. Much like how in the early 1990s not everyone understood the internet, but by the 2000s everyone was using it. We are now at that inflection point with blockchain where the question is not if it will be used, but how broadly and deeply. Let's not oversell it. Blockchain is not the magical solution for all the problems. It doesn't eliminate the need for well-designed processes, good user interfaces, legal frameworks, and plain old human trust. In fact, some problem in voting show that blockchain is not alone a silver bullet. Plus, blockchains themselves face challenges like scalability, handling thousands of transactions per second globally, energy efficiency, moving beyond the power-hungry early systems to greener alternatives. There is also the matter of education. It's been found that 54% people thought blockchain and Bitcoin were the same thing. As more people experience blockchain's benefit in non-crypto context, that perception will shift. In the end, blockchain is a tool, a very powerful one for building trust and transparency. Drop a comment. What do you think is the coolest application of blockchain beyond crypto? I would love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious and bye.